Do you want to leave your job and stop working? Are you hoping to have enough cash flow to cover your lifestyle so that your work is optional or you don't have to work, or you can cut back to part-time? Wouldn't that be amazing? I've spoken with over 1,500 passive investors over the years, and this comes up a lot is, man, I have this business or I've got this job and I have to keep working. I don't know how I'm going to generate enough to cover my expenses, right? And so this is where cash flow and where investing can really come into play. So I'm going to get into a few secrets on how I did this. Left a $200K a year job, was able to fully retire a couple years ago. I've seen many people do it. It's totally possible. I want to get into this in 3 easy steps, how people do this and how you might do it. I think you're really going to love it. Let's jump in. All right, my name is Bronson Hill. If we haven't met, we do a lot of investing in alternative assets such as oil and gas, ATM machines, car washes, things that cash flow, as well as real estate. We have about 200 million in multifamily assets. Let's jump in here. So how people actually leave their job, how they have the ability or the option to be able to do it and stop working. The first thing is you make a goal. Now this sounds really simple, but it's really true. Now Tony Robbins says this, he says, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. So once you decide you're actually going to do it, it actually begins to happen. So what I said is, I actually want to leave my job. I'm going to go for it. It won't take me, that long. I said I can do it in 3 years or less. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just took time to be able to do it, and I figured out a way to be able to do it. And what it did is it really opened up that possibility for me. It wasn't even a possibility, but because I created it in my mind, I made a goal, my mind and my subconscious to try to figure out how to make that happen. So what was the reason I wanted to do it? I wanted to spend more time with family. I wanted to be able to travel more. I wanted to be creative and create videos like this for you, or write a book. I've got a book coming out called Fire Yourself, and it's on this topic, how to replace your working income with passive income in 3 years or less. And just really live out what my purpose is, what I'm here to actually do on this earth. So for you, you have a why. You have a why of some reason you're watching this video, and I want you to keep that in mind of what it is the reason that you actually want to leave a job or have the ability to do it. Maybe there's something that's come up in your life, a health issue or a family member's health issue, and you want to be there for them. That's stuff that's really, really important. So once you make that decision that, hey, I'm going to do this amount of time it's going to take, I encourage you to create what's called a vision board, right? And a vision board is just simply stuff that, hey, these are the things I want to be doing. So for me, this is kind of has to do with some of my goals. This is pretty personal, but as long as we keep it between us. So I do Spartan races. I want to basically finish in the top 3 for a Spartan race this year. I haven't accomplished that yet, but I'm working on it. I want to help stop human trafficking in the world. Big, hairy, audacious goal. Spend more time with my daughter. This is us at Legoland. This is spending more time with God and really walking, in a relationship with Him. And this is actually happening soon. This is a place in Park in New Zealand, and I'm going there in November. So again, when you have a vision board, you can refer to it. On the other side, I've written a lot of my personal goals and my vision and my mission statement on the other side. So I read all that because I think it's really, really important. You keep it in front of you, and that's how you start to make those changes in your life. So if you think about really what your number is, for me, it came down to how much do I actually need? I didn't need to replace my income. So if my income was $200K a year, I didn't need $200K for a number of reasons. One is that if I was a real estate investor, I wouldn't be paying as much in taxes because of all the deductions that go with that. And then also, my expenses weren't what my income was, right? So I only needed, I figured about 60K, 70K a year to be able to leave my job, right? It wasn't actually as high as I thought. And so to get there, it's like, well, how could I actually get there? And this is the second thing, is really start investing in cash flow investments. And I say specifically cash flow investments because there's kind of 2 types of investments. There's some that offer appreciation, that you'll make a lot of money someday, or these things will happen somewhere down the road, or it's a mix of cash flow and appreciation. But I become such a big fan of cash flow investments because cash flow is how people can leave their jobs, how they can cover expenses, how they can pay the mortgage, or they can pay the rent, or they can cover a car payment, or they can, knowing that these other things are covered is through cash flow. And so, cash flow will win all day. In my opinion, all day it will win cash flow. We recently put together a course called Cash Flow Accelerator. You can find it on my website, bronsonequity.com, the upper right-hand side. Got some great feedback on that, just on how to start developing cash flow in your life. The best businesses that I have seen really are ones that cash flow. And so these days, I have this little ATM model back here. We have ATM machines we're doing. Yes, people are still using cash. Great cash flowing, predictable investment. Car washes have been a great one. Oil and gas, we've done some stuff in that space as well. It's just starting to develop cash flow. So if you haven't invested in anything but stocks, or you haven't really done much investing, it can feel like a muscle you didn't know you had, and you're sore, like, oh, this feels really weird. I don't know how this is going to be. And you have to kind of get used to that. So this is the third thing, really, is to ramp it up. So once you get started in a new asset class, it does take some time. We have some investors, quite a few investors that have been active, own a rental house, or they've done other things themselves, and they don't know how they're going to like being passive in a deal. But we find about 99% of them, 95% of them, they love being in passive deals because they don't actually have to be the ones that actually are doing it, right? So, but they get used to it. And then what happens is, as the cash flow starts coming in, as wealth starts growing, people start realizing, like, hey, this is pretty great. I really like being a part of this, and they're able to ramp and scale it up. It's not always that you're never going to have a loss. A lot of us we're afraid of having a loss. Like, what happens if I make a mistake? What happens if I lose money? And I promise you, if you do this long enough, eventually you'll probably have some loss, right? But it's funny, the stock market goes down by 20%. We don't think much of it, or it goes down by 30%. Oh, okay, well, it's just the way the market is. But if we have a loss of 20% in an investment, it's like, oh my gosh, how in the world? That's the worst thing ever. It's like, some things are going to happen, right? Stuff's going to happen. But the biggest investment is not just in your portfolio and how that grows. It's really in your own education. And I want to completely emphasize that, like overemphasize that, right? It's not the investment that's happening out here. It's the investment that's happening in here. It's happening in here. Brian Tracy has this quote. He says, if you want to earn more, you got to learn more, right? And it rhymes and it's catchy, whatever, but it's so true, is that you're investing in your own education, so that when you're investing, not 50K, maybe you're investing, 5 million in a deal, which I'm hoping for you that will happen, or more money down the road, you're investing substantially more money, that you'll know how to do that. You'll know what the risks are. You'll have that muscle developed. You'll be very comfortable with it. So that's where the greatest goal is, learning. And then really what this allows you to do is that you have the choice now if you want to go to work or not. Maybe you have a business you love, but you want to walk away from it, you're not sure how. Well, this gives you the option to be able to do it. Or maybe you're a physician. I worked with a lot of physicians, my medical sales job years ago, and a lot of them just would love to have the option. Hey, I'm working 60 hours a week, but now I know I don't have to. I can work 20 hours a week if I want to. Or if I had a health issue, or if my family member had a health issue, I could actually be there for them, right? And so I encourage whatever you're doing here is that be aware of that. Be aware that time is really the more important thing. And if you are able to develop financial freedom, it allows you to have really, I think, what you want and what I want is time freedom, right? To do what we want, when we want to do it, where we want it, with the people that are around us that we want. And that's what really allows for the freedom. I remember I was sitting, my desk is kind of in this area. I'm sitting at the table, and I remember a few months after I left my job, and I remember thinking of the month-end kind of call I would get from my boss of like, hey, are you going to sell any more medical widgets, whatever. And my boss was fine, he was a nice person, but that call would happen. And I just remember what came out of my mouth as I was thinking about this, again, months after I had left my job, was, thank God I'm not doing that job anymore, right? I think that's a very good sign, right? It's a very good sign that for me, it was something that really just gave me the flexibility to be able to do something else. So, just kind of close here, life really is for living. Life is for actually doing the things that you're here to do, whether it's travel, it's memories with family, it's creating things, it's leaving an impact in the world. And when we're stuck in a job or a business, sometimes we don't always have the ability to do that. If you're in a business, you're doing all those things, that's great, but having passive income so you can choose how you want to interact with that, not just in this season, but possibly in a future season as well. Actually, I just recently heard a story of somebody who said, we learned about real estate investing because my dad, after he passed away, he died, he wasn't as old as we hoped he would have been when he died, but he died. And we realized that he had all this passive income set up so that it paid for stuff for my mom, right? So she didn't have to work and she was taken care of and this and that. So that got them interested in doing real estate as well. And what a great legacy, right? To be able to teach others how to really manage money and to be able to do it in a way that's very powerful. So I encourage you, life is for living. I hope you get a hold of what your dream is. You make that decision, you go for it. A lot of it's mindset, just really, really go for it. I want to share this quote with you. This says, enjoy the little things in life. One day you will look back and realize they were the big things. So to me, I think of my 10-year-old daughter, Ellie, and I just think, we played a board game the other day and it was just like, those are the things that really matter, right? Going to soccer practice, run around the yard, kicking a soccer ball. Those are the things that are actually, they seem like little things, but they're really actually looking back, they're the big things. So I hope that you're able to free up time through investing that really allows you to have the financial freedom and the time freedom to do the things that are important to you. I did a whiteboard of the math on how to specifically do this and how you could do it in 3 years or less. This is kind of like, how to actually leave your job. Just check it out up here. It's kind of a good companion to this video. So if you enjoyed this, this will get more into the nuts and bolts of how to do that. And then again, if you haven't joined our investment club, we're doing multifamily, oil and gas, ATM machines, car washes, other types of alternative assets, particularly those that cash flow. These days, multifamily deals have been great. A lot of them, the cash flow has been more spotty in some deals, right? So having things like ATM machines that cash flow monthly have been amazing. So love to connect with you on that. If you haven't joined our investor club, check that out in the link below. Look forward to catching you on the next video.